Sit down, lie down, squat down. But I'm back. Belle Tellz. Okay, so the title of this one is Royalty. And if y'all can see, I broke a nail this weekend, so I had to cut all the rest of them off, so I didn't have a nub. So, years ago, I was potty training my oldest daughter. And she was, well, she still is very stubborn. So that's okay. I am too. It's all right. So I remember trying to figure out what was going to work for her, because each child, you will learn, if you have more than one, each child learns differently, receives love differently, and so you just got to learn their language. Well, she was getting pretty ballsy with the potty training, because every time she would go to the bathroom, she would come up to me and say, I did it on myself. You ready to change me? So I thought, all right, this kid is getting what she's doing. I just got to figure out how to get her to go use the restroom. So I tried everything you could think of. I took toys away. I didn't let her have any desserts. I took fun time away. Like, everything that she liked to do, I began to take away. I mean, it was to the point where there was nothing. And I remember one day hearing her play in her room, and I'm like, what is she doing? So, sure enough, I go in her room, and she had, the best she could, had cut out paper dolls. And I looked at her and I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm playing. You may take my toys away, but you can't take my mind. I have imagination, is how she said it. I'm like, what? So I shut the door. And I'm like, oh man, this kid. Yeah, she's real. Oh boy, she's smart. Like, I got my work cut out with this one. So she had really believed for a very long time that she was royalty. And I used to tell her, you are a princess and you are a royalty. And so she really believed she was royalty. So I thought one day, I got it. So I told her, she had come up to me again with the whole, went to bathroom on myself again. You want to change me now or later? And I said, it's okay. I'll change you. And I remember her looking at me, and she goes, you mad at me? I said, nope. So I get her cleaned up, and I said, I got to talk to you about something. And she said, what's wrong? And I said, Mommy has some really sad news. And she looked at me, she goes, Mommy, what's wrong? I said, well, because you're not being a big girl and you're not going potty like big girls. Mommy had to call the queen. And she goes, what happened? And I said, well, the queen said that you can't be on the list of royalty anymore, so you're not a princess. And she said, Mom, what have you done? And she just broke down and crying. I thought, okay, well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. A couple days later, I hear this, like this scooting, like this. I could hear it from across the room, and I'm like, what is she dragging across the tile floor? And I kind of peeked around the corner. Well, she was dragging her little toddler potty across the tile floor into her room because she didn't want to miss her show. And she proceeded to use her toddler potty. So she went to hollering for me, and she showed me she had used it. And she said, now can I be on the list? And I said, you can get back on the list now. Well, this went on for about 6 weeks. We were doing really good. And I'll never forget this. I don't remember what happened. She got mad at me and she looked right at me and she goes, "You made me mad." And I said, "Oh, well, you can get over it." "You will get over it." Didn't have a clue what she was talking about. 2 days later, right on herself. I said, "Oh man, this kid." So I told her, I said, "That's it, you're off the list for good." And so she, of course, had another meltdown. And I said, she begged and begged to be back on it. And I said, "You have to be consistent with being a big girl and going to the bathroom." And so she did. We mastered potty training. She was my hardest to potty train, my most stubborn to potty train. But what's the moral here? What is the point? Well, the point is what works for one child may not work for another. And I think that's true in life with people in general, because it is our perception and how we respond to things based upon things we've been through in our lifetime. So it affects how we receive messages, how we receive things and internalize them. And that is going to lead me into another one, probably the next time, on forgiveness. Because I had a conversation with somebody about that. And, forgiveness is a lot easier said than done, especially when you've been wronged over and over. But that has nothing to do with today's story. Today's story is about learning what works for each child, and what works for one may not work for the other. All right, y'all. That's it. Please and thank yous are a must. A smile never hurt no one. Be cognizant of the things you say and how you say them, because kindness is priceless. Y'all have a good week. Stay positive. Bye-bye.